Hey everyone, welcome back. Glad to have you here for another deep dive. Has the world of 8 billion people ever made you feel suffocated? If you were granted one wish, how many of you would wish for everyone on Earth, except you, to just vanish? A world for you, and you alone. Sounds pretty sweet, right? You could eat whatever you want, go wherever you like, and do anything without anyone stopping you. Imagine hopping into the most expensive supercar and turning every road into your personal Autobahn. You could go anywhere stark naked and be the king of the world. But is ruling a planet with only one inhabitant actually that easy? Would your life flourish, or would it hit a dead end? Let's find out. The first thing you'd get is something we all crave: absolute luxurious silence. Your mornings would now be filled with only birdsong, a distant dog bark, or a cat interrogating its partner about where it spent the night. No more street vendors shouting, no more ear-splitting traffic, no more neighbors arguing, and no more toddlers having tantrums next door. You'd think, this is the best day of my life. No more waking up on a schedule, no more rushing to sell your soul to capitalism. You'd stroll through familiar streets, finally noticing the beauty that's always been there. With no police or authorities around, you could smash things just for fun, go shopping without looking at price tags, or throw iPhones at things, just because you can. It's the kind of stuff you only see in internet comments. But now, you're actually doing it. But that's assuming everyone vanishes peacefully. In a darker reality, unmanned planes would start falling from the sky. Cars, trains, and ships would crash into each other, and maybe even into your house. Industrial machinery would keep running until they malfunction, causing massive explosions and fires in factories. But if you happen to be far away from the chaos, congratulations! You're officially the king of the world. You can enter any building, move your address to anywhere on the map, and live in the luxury mansions you've only seen on MrBeast's channel, until you realize you're staring at a ghost town. In your world of one, train stations, airports, and seaports are all dead. And don't even think about teaching yourself to fly a plane or sail a ship. You'd likely die during the practice run. If you're in Vietnam, you might be able to drive across Asia and Europe, maybe even reach Africa via the Suez Canal. But if you're on an island like the Maldives, you're stuck there for life. Literally speaking, high-tech spaceships, luxury private jets, and massive cruise ships are now nothing more than giant museum pieces. But that wouldn't make for good content, right? So let's assume by some miracle you can operate any vehicle. You'd become the world's #1 travel vlogger. You'd fly everywhere, maybe even to space. But enjoy it while it lasts, because there's no next time. Without a massive support crew of engineers, these machines will quickly become scrap metal. Once you're grounded, how long can you, the king of the world, actually survive? Welcome to the 50-year survival challenge on Server Earth, where you are the last living witness to a civilization that was once prosperous. Setting aside the crippling loneliness of losing your family and friends, how do you adapt to a world where you have to do everything yourself? First, remember, no people means no one is running the power plants or maintaining the grid. Shortly after you take your throne, the lights will go out globally. Without electricity, 21st century basics like GPS, the internet, social media, and online games become a thing of the past. I mean, who are you going to play with anyway? But it doesn't mean you're back to the Stone Age, yet. You can still find generators and fuel at gas stations. But then, hunger kicks in. That's when you realize the gravity of your situation. You'll start to think your wish was actually pretty stupid. Experts agree that water, food, and shelter are the big three in real-life survival. You can survive 6 weeks without food, but only a few days without water. Without maintenance, water pumps will stop. Taps will run dry. Fortunately, you'll find tons of bottled water in supermarkets. If you stockpile carefully, it could last for years. You can wash in rivers, but you'll need to hit the books to learn how to filter water for the long term. Challenge number 2, nutrition. Supermarkets are full of food, but perishables like meat, milk, and veggies will rot almost instantly without refrigeration. Eat them while you can. Canned goods, instant noodles, and rice will be your best friends. High-acid cans, like tomatoes, last about 18 months, but low-acid ones, like meat and fish, last much longer. As long as the cans aren't dented, bloated, or rusted, they can be your food source for decades. But trust me, you'll loathe canned food after a few months. So, it's time to become a farmer. You'll have to teach yourself agriculture through books to have a stable source of fresh food. You could also hunt or fish to change things up. You'll have every fishing rod and bait ever made at your disposal. Hunting is the same. You'll find firearms in police stations or military barracks. Guns are convenient, but you could try trapping or archery if you want to increase the difficulty level of the game. But the universe doesn't care about your game. Without human upkeep, buildings, roads, and bridges will decay. Nature will gradually reclaim the land. Cities will turn green. Some structures will last long after you're game over, like the pyramids, the Great Wall, or Stonehenge. But modern buildings aren't built for eternity. Concrete and steel have an expiration date. They will succumb to rain, wind, and heat. First, the roof tiles will fail, vines will take over, wood will rot, and vegetation will accelerate the destruction. But plants aren't your biggest threat. The real danger comes from a woman. Wait, what? Didn't I say you were the last person alive? No, I'm talking about Lady Fire. A single lightning strike and the absence of firefighters can turn one small house fire into an inferno that swallows an entire city. You could be forced to flee, leaving behind all your supplies and the home you spent years building. And that's if you're lucky enough not to be burned alive. If you think the countryside is safer, it's a toss-up. More land for farming, but fewer supplies. You'd have to scavenge in cities that are now the territory of wild dogs and snakes. But if you think you'll at least grow old in peace, think again. There are about 440 nuclear power plants in over 30 countries. While they have safety protocols and will shut down automatically if humans vanish, the control rods need cooling. Once the backup generators run out of fuel, the pumps stop, the temperature spikes, and you get a meltdown. The result? Massive radiation leaks. Every meltdown would be like another Chernobyl. Hundreds of nuclear disasters waiting to happen, and no one to report on them. Your only hope is to check the map and stay as far away from nuclear hubs as possible. Radioactive dust will enter the atmosphere, fall with the rain, and poison the soil and water you use. Your crops will be toxic. Your livestock will be toxic. Everything will be radioactive. Even breathing will increase your risk of cancer. Speaking of health, if the king of the world gets sick, who's the doctor? You won't catch a cold from anyone, but diseases like heart disease, diabetes, or cancer don't care if you're the king of the world. Illness kills you slowly, but accidents kill you instantly. A car crash, falling from a tree, slipping in the shower, burning yourself while cooking, food poisoning, choking on a fishbone, a snake bite, or even a simple infected cut. Any of these could be fatal without help. You can read all the medical books in the world, but books can't save you if you're unconscious. And finally, the final boss of this survival game, loneliness. If you think it can't kill you, you're wrong. Humans are social creatures. Our brains are wired for empathy and communication. They become redundant in total isolation. You could get a dog, but when it passes away, the grief will be unbearable. Science shows that living in a world without others leads to depression, cognitive decline, heart disease, and even Alzheimer's. Conclusion: honestly, forget about it. A little noise and chaos is fine, as long as we have each other. That's my take on it. What about you guys? What would you do if you were the last person on Earth? Let me know in the comments. As always, hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any more mind-blowing hypothetical content from F5M. Until next time, stay safe and see ya!